right side. Coffee with a gain of 2 on the play.
Well, we have some technical difficulties here. We
on the play.
We're going to get this taken over by a professional TV station to broadcast this game. For now, it's us making the best of the equipment that we have. Our cameras back. And it just goes to show, that you can't get too excited about that first play. First play stuck. Second play is broken. Mumford to the fullback, Davies, and that's what you heard about.
Touchdown, Polo, Marco. Davies on the carry for the Polo Marco. Here goes the play. It's a Marco touchdown.
Are you going to kick the extra point with the proximity of the players only having 8 out there, or will you go for 2 with your advantage on offense?
And most teams seem to go for 2. I think kicking is very difficult. You can only protect so far away from that ball. It makes it hard to get that kick off. Again, it's back to the option. This time out to Coffee.
There you go! Coffee on the carry. 2-point attack.
I know that is not what Milford was wanting to kick it off, but again, that's what you prepare for all week. It's nothing quote-unquote special. But as a whole, option football is special. And it's hard it doesn't look like much on your TV.
Marco 6.
It's difficult to stop.
Certainly the number of advantages is what they're going for. Getting to the edge is their plan of attack.
Well, great start for Polo. I got to believe they're happy with that. Anytime you can establish a fullback in an option-based offense, that is exactly the start you want. Now they'll line up to kick off to this potent Bearcat offense that has averaged over 58 points a game.
Well, and that's just it. We are in a championship game. Both sides have been very successful all season on the offensive side of the ball. It's no surprise that Polo goes down and scores. The surprise will be when people are stopping each other tonight. Perfectly.
You're right. It could be one of those games where you're fighting to get a stop per half.
Teams always plays a big role in championship games. Polo had great field position, and so does PCC to start second drive of the game.
They'll start the drive off from the 40. Returning now is 15. That's Woodby. Jared Woodby, junior.
Return
5'7",
48-yard line. First attempt of the Bearcats.
Milford in their base formation. They'll go right to trap.
Nick Allen on the carry in the Bearcats. Off the play. Tackled by a host of Polo Marco.
You can see there's number 4, Nick Allen there in the backfield. Normally he plays out in the slot. We got Boyle in the slot now, a star tailback. Angel Salinas came up with a broken leg last in the semifinal game. Well, Stoller, he'll keep it, and he's a big, strong quarterback. He'll take it for 4 or 5.
The quarterback for the Bearcats.
Their plan throughout the night is to spread you out and figure out a way for Stoller to run the football as he's done all season.
We had a 5 on the play.
NCP and that no huddle come up quick and see what you're in. And we got a little stoppage.
Tempo and 8-man football certainly seems like the rage, just as it is an 11-man.
Yeah, not much difference there. The only difference so far is our officials trying to get used to the adjusted 8-man hash. Stoller to the air. He's got him. He's got him. NCP wasting no time, hustling back up to the line of scrimmage to go again. They go back to trap. Not much room, but a little more room than they had on the first time.
Ball handed off to number 4, Nick Allen.
Looks like they'll continue to try to run the ball inside.
Gain of 3 on the play.
Outside as well as the inside.
7 for the 7.
Boyle, and he's run out of bounds at the 10.
Destiny was played really well there to the tight end side. Boyle to down.
Put off Keegan Boyle. Boyle packing out of bounds.
Well, let's hope Keegan Boyle is okay. Maybe just banged up a little bit. It'd be a killer for the Bearcats to lose him. He's the one that just caught that long pass. They got him down inside the 10. And the Bearcats will face a 3rd and goal from about the 9.
Looks like he was just shaking up on the play. Seems to be all right now. We're good.
For the Polo, red line.
Switch Nick Allen over to the other side. It looks like they may not have gotten that playoff in time, Curtis. And they did not.
I think the substitution with the injury caused them a little bit of confusion, and in the coaching of the player in order to get him out there and ready, they took a little too much time and got a delay in game. 22's back in the game now.
So far, Bearcats have not been able to do much on the ground. They're going to need to in order to continue to sustain drives. 3rd and goal now from the 14. And we are not able to get this play off as well. I don't see a call being made, Coach. Not sure why that stoppage happened, but they'll run the clock and we're right back at it. That's Sam Cade in motion there. Stoller throws it up, not able to come down with it on the edge. That's tight end Alex Barney.
Great coverage there by Favor. In the corner of the end zone, taking that guy out of the backfield.
Polo really putting the pressure on the Bearcats. They have not felt this type of pressure in quite some time. Certainly not any time this year.
Looks as though Polo's scheme is to bring somebody every time they get motion from Milford. At least up to this point in the game, they really, as you said, brought the heat in that situation.
Well, it's a crucial 4th down. Stoller drops back. He's going to put it up on the wheel route again. Come down instead. They'll turn it over on downs. Back to the Marcos.
Great call on the wheel route. Just overdoing a little too much. Great effort by the quarterback.
And it is 6-0 with 7:38 to play in the first quarter. Polo ball. Coming back out this way, they will start the drive on their own 14.
On the I formation again, no surprise.
Let's go, D!
Mumford under center. It's back to Davies on the fullback dive. And he breaks a tackle and picks up 15. Again, getting that fullback going is dangerous when you're playing an option team.
Davies does a great job running behind his shoulder pads. Physical running back that gets through there.
Polo Marcos first down. First and 10 for Polo. Somewhere 50-yard line.
Look a little bit like Navy out there running the triple option with those gold helmets and blue pants.
Boy, they look sharp. And them gold helmets are shining. Mumford back to the dive. He'll keep this time, and he finds a seam. Right now, Polo's shredding.
Great mesh back in the quarterback. No idea where the ball was until I saw the fullback try no loss to the guy who was about to go at him.
I think this was the big question for me coming in. Having not seen Polo play yet this year, I didn't know how good they were at running option. How good are you at carrying out fakes? Things like that go a long way, and so far, they look tough. They'll give the coffee on the ISO play. The Bearcats are there, but it's still good for a Polo first down.
Move the chains. Polo's way of attack is when they get in a short yardage situation, get the ball in the ISO, the 31, get down there right away, and get the first down.
Getting 4 on the play.
Wow, what a
First and 10 for Polo.
What an environment. This is
For the Marco 32-yard line.
Well, Polo, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what Jeff Bumstead said. And they're back to their I formation, 2 tight ends. They'll go to toss sweep. Coffee finds a little seam, and he's hard to bring down. There's another 12 yards right now. MCP trying to find something to slow this one
first down. Brought down the play.
Polo's tight ends are doing a great job getting to the second level and getting onto the linebackers. At
First and 10 for Polo from the Bearcats 45-yard line.
Well, from what I've seen of MCP, they don't change a lot defensively. They're going to stay a little stubborn and continue to get better from what they do. And there's back to Davies. He's got room, and that's 6 to 7.
That particular play, they walked the linebacker to an inside technique on the tight end. Gave almost a bear look for what they were doing, and made it a little bit more difficult to get the second level from the tight end, but a great run.
And Jacob Nash just came in for Alex Barney defensively. So they brought Rudy King in the middle. That's a big, strong offensive lineman stand out. Bearcats trying to keep fresh bodies up front. Bearcats are going to a 3-man front. That's Coffee, and he'll get another yard. It's going to bring up 3rd and about 2.
It'll really be interesting to see if Polo continues to run their option game against this 3-man front and how they adjust to what they're seeing on the defense at this point.
Well, 4:45 to go in the first quarter. Polo taking their time, breaking the huddle, and coming right back out in the That's Coffee at tailback still, and Davies at fullback, Mumford under center. Bearcats take the bait. That would give them a first down.
Tell you what, Polo's offensive line, although considerably smaller than MCP up front, doing a wonderful job getting off the ball and getting into great contact, driving their feet.
Offside call with Milford-Cissna Park.
So far, the first quarter, outside of one big pass play from the Bearcats, it's been all Polo.
For the Bearcats,
Certainly have their
33-yard line.
right now, switching out of their customary defense into odd man front with the double eagle down on both guards.
Let's go, D!
Let's see what the Marcos go with on this first down call. Back to option. It's a keep by Davies. And that one will fall ahead for 3 or 4.
Staying on the carry, Polo.
With the chains at this point.
Brought down the play, but
That
that's
guy
51-19.
team is going to 4 yards on first down. Keeps you honest on defense. Coming down.
Getting 3 on the play, 2nd and 7.
Well, it's a 2nd and 7, 3:30 to go in the first quarter, 6-0 Polo. And they're back for a second down try. Toss to number 10 now. Coffee's out of the game, and that brings in number 10. That is Jesse Powell. He
Jesse Powell carry for Polo.
You're really starting to see the safeties from
Gain of 1 on the play.
already start to cheat way down into the linebacker depth. Getting a good read on those tight ends right there. Allow the safety to come up and cause a break on that particular play.
Bearcats are going to need help from the DBs. The trick is not getting too nosy so that you can get beat over the top. This is a big play here. 3rd and 6 for the Marcos. They go to toss sweep, and he's going to throw it. Coffee's got a man. It's caught. He's immediately brought down. Joey Bardell, number 54, with the reception. Great call on the
Play as a first down for Polo Marco.
Made the tackle on that.
First and 10 for Polo from the Bearcats, 16-yard line.
Catch on that, rather. Sorry.
Okay. Polo's 2 tight ends. You've got 75 Scott Freeroast and 54 Joey Bardell.
a little trickeration out of a team that's only run downhill at you already.
That's hard to stop.
Certainly putting those safeties in a bad situation.
I expect them to go back to the option, and they do. I can't tell who has it. Looks like it's Mumford. He'll keep it. It looks like it went for about 5 yards.
Mumford on the quarterback keeper for Polo.
They have everything in their play.
Brought down after a 5-yard gain. Second and 5.
Offsides by the defense.
Offsides called against the Bearcats. 5-yard
A hard
penalty.
count once again. Certainly a great plan that they have.
Boy, Polo's doing a great job controlling the line of scrimmage, mixing up their play calls, mixing up the snap count.
Frustrating Milford early in the game.
Penalty gives Polo first and goal.
Polo hustles back up, raise their arms out to the side to get those perfect splits, and it'll be option. Mumford's got it. He finds a seam, and he's in it.
Milford's offense
Polo
will
marked
get
a
back out there
touchdown.
going as explosive as they have been all season. You can't
With
expect
8 seconds left in the first quarter, Polo 12.
for them as well.
Milford
Minute
0.
18 to go in the first quarter. It's Polo 12, MCP 0, and Polo will line up for the 2-point try.
What do you think here, Coach? Option football?
That's what I think. Now's a good time to carry out your triple option to that third phase and pitch it. We'll see what they do. Looks like a little counter boot pass. He gets pressure, and Trey Tetherow is there to bring him down. Trey Tetherow a little slow to get up, but he did stop the 2-point conversion, and it'll stay 12-0 Polo. Bearcats. It'll be interesting to see how they respond. It's the first time they've dealt with this type of adversity.
Those extra points are going to come up big here before the end of this game. 12-0. Needing one of those two to get you a full 2-score advantage. It's going to come back to be an important aspect of the game, no doubt.
Let's go now, Blue!
Of course, not the way
We're gonna need more than that!
Start. I'd be curious to see. I'm just thinking through it myself as a coach. Going, okay, I'm down 12-0. What are my thinking defensively?
Defensively, I think they got to continue to bring heat. I was thinking you were going to go on the offensive side of the ball.
Certainly look to get a score here. It's amazing how the momentum of the football is ebb and flow. Right now, it is all for Polo. I think both sides are feeling it. Number 15, Brody Glade will line up to kick.
A huge kick this time and Milford, great field position to start off.
Allen Boyle back deep to receive, and it'll be a short one. And Bearcats will take it right there at midfield. And they'll start their drive there.
Had to be an interesting look seeing that ball coming right at
Nick Warren.
on the top line. All those guys
First
are
and
there.
goal. Perfect 10 for the Bearcats.
I would have.
That one caught by sophomore Nick Warren fields that one.
It's a great recovery.
Here come the Bearcats. They'll put a receiver on either side to start us off. Polo being very aggressive, and the Bearcats see it. They'll go to the air again.
Looks like he's going to be a tough pill to carry.
As the Bearcats lined up for that try, I was about to say, if I'd had more time, Bearcats will challenge. Well, Bearcats coach obviously saw the same, and they've got good quarterback, good receiver. Let's see if they can put it in for the 2-point try. There go reverse, maybe reverse pass. He'll take it himself, but it's out.
Really special.
That try is going to be no good. And Polo will maintain a 12-6 lead. A minute to go in the first quarter. A one-play drive by the Bearcats. Pistol goes deep to Keegan Boyle. And it's 12-6.
That connection certainly is the story of the game so far for Milford. Their deep connection is something to get at. Number 22, both times he's had man coverage. He's able to get over the top on the quarterback with a wonderful throw, with amazing catches both times, throwing the deep. Extra point, they're getting stopped. A little bit of extra depth by Milford there, running a really special. Got stopped right before they got into the end zone.
This mic is. I gotta fire this. For now, until this fires up.
I'm in the way.
A huge play special teams wise. 12-6. It continues to pull the rabbit out of their hat.
Polo needed that to get some momentum right back, and it did, right? The fans are back and excited. A little bit different look. They're in the gun now. Mumford will take the shotgun snap and keep it himself, and he'll plow ahead for a quick 8 yards.
I think that was their answer to the different front defensively. Not being able to block the Eagle front near as well, or Bear front, they were able to get them spread out in that particular situation and run speed option.
Interesting call, in my opinion. As you know, you come out and you kind of mow somebody 2 in a row, and you come out and give a different look. It's one of those things as a coach. You go, okay, do I keep plugging away, or do I mix things up a little bit and just keep their heads spinning?
I think they certainly felt like it was a lot more difficult for them to get yardage once they saw that double Eagle front, and they definitely must have had a plan of attack for when they saw them.
Well, they're going to let it come down to the end of the quarter. At the end of the first quarter, it's Polo 12, MCP 6, and we expected a great game, and so far, we have not been disappointed. The I8FA is sponsored by True Value Manufacturing. And True Value Manufacturing is very proud to sponsor the Illinois 8-man football state championship game. Your source for field striping paint.
Also a reminder, technically located at the south end of the press box. Technically sold with Lily
Close it all down real quick. We're still connected to the internet. Have you had any posts successful yet? Yeah, give it a minute. If you see it pop up, like go for it again. And we'll kick off the second quarter. Little split action in the backfield to Coffee, and boy, he just keeps the feet moving. They can't bring him down. He breaks free, and Coffee in for the touchdown. What a run!
Polo is playing with some incredible passion, breaking through arm tackle after arm tackle all the way to the end zone.
Right now, one of the things just impressing me about Polo, I think you can't see it schematically, but looking at the result, I see a strong football team, right? You're talking about a lot of very strong football players. They're hard to tackle. They get off the ball well, and we may not be able to see their strength, but I promise you the Bearcats are feeling that strength right now. They're fast out of the huddle into a slightly different, unbalanced formation. The give back to Coffee, and he easily punches it in for the 2-point conversion. That makes it Polo 20, MCP 6. Bearcats anxious to find a way to slow Polo down. Polo making some great calls. The first 2 drives came out and just hammered away with their option attack. Suddenly in the 3rd drive, when you know Milford-Cissna Park coaches are talking option on the sidelines, they come back out on drive 3, hit you with speed option out of the gun, a little divide action in the backfield with a lead play, and then right back in a hurry to an unbalanced set for the 2-point conversion. This Coffee, he's a load.
Almost looked a little Auburn-like, the way they jumped out of the huddle real quick, get to the line, and get in a different formation that maybe you haven't seen, have an advantage by it being unbalanced, and then attacking that.
And it sure worked beautifully. They'll take that 20-0 lead. 20-6, not sure why I said nothing, but there are 11 minutes, 49 seconds to go in the second quarter. A lot of football left to play. But Polo is excited right now.
Especially the way Milford has been able to get downfield throwing the ball.
Well, that's Brody Glaive back to kick. He'll kick it to the back line and give Keegan Boyle a chance to return. That's a good athlete with the ball, and Polo does a nice job of covering. They'll bring him down. MCP will start at their own 40.
Going to be really interesting to see what MCP comes out with on offense this drive.
Well, you can see Polo with those 2 big, strong defensive ends, stand-up ends, and Mumford and Coffee. There's Nick Allen with the ball, and he's got good feet, but he can't find much room. It'll be 2nd and 8.
To the tight end side, Polo really seems to be bringing their defense over here to the strength. They've certainly seen something on film that leads them to this side on defense.
Stoller will keep it on this one. And a very strong run down the sideline. You know, you start getting used to seeing quarterbacks run out of bounds, and this one keeps his toes in, puts his shoulder down, picks up an extra 7. That'll go for about 17 yards.
Milford really quick to line of scrimmage. Definitely have a plan this series.
That's Boyle on the quick motion. He'll keep it on jet sweep, make one man miss. And the Marcos with lots of guys at the point of attack, really playing some physical football right now. I have to believe MCP is taking a little bit to get used to this physical brand of football. They just haven't seen it this year.
I certainly am seeing Polo is devoting everything they can to stopping MCP with the run. Maybe giving themselves a little bit of difficulty in defending in the pass with one-on-one coverage, but certainly getting after them on the run side.
Sometimes as a coach you say, hey, I think you can beat me once through the air. I don't think you can do it all night. Bearcats take to the air. That's Sam Cabe. Nice, easy hitch for 10.
Great pitch and catch out there to the edge.
Right now, with the way the Marcos are defending, it's looking like MCP is going to have to be able to take to the air. And they've thrown the ball well this year, but they haven't been forced to. Stoller keeps it. He has nowhere to go. Damage control now. That one's stuffed for a loss of 5 or 6. It'll be 2nd and 16.
Stoller is a very, very strong and physical quarterback coming out of the mesh drill, but boy, are they certainly keying on him coming off of those jet fakes.
Loss of 8 on the play.
Well, Bearcats, see what they call on 2nd and 15. They'll just go straight drop back pass. It's a screen. And what a play by Tucker Mumford to come diving in and get a finger on the ball, because it looked like there was room on that screen.
Certainly reading their keys. A lot of times when teams will run a screen, linebackers and defensive ends will peek into the backfield. Polo did a wonderful job reading their keys there.
You know, I'm really just having a blast watching because, you know, all year Milford-Cissna Park has been able to drop back and execute a screen with ease, and now they're being contested on everything they do. They'll drop back again. They'll go back to the wheel route to Boyle. The ball is there. He can't come down with it. What great defense there by Polo. Who is that made that stop? That's Parker Wolber. What great man-to-man defense on a talented receiver.
Boyle coming out of the backfield in the wing position there on a wheel route almost isn't fair. His speed and explosiveness going down the field is very difficult to cover. 13's doing a great job.
Well, his coaches must trust him. They've put him up man-to-man, almost press man with a great receiver, maybe one of the best in the league. And the Bearcats are going to go for it on 4th and 17. He'll take to the air. They like this matchup they got with Boyle, and they stopped him once, but they can't stop him again. That's MCP, punches it in through the air, 20-12. Polo with the lead, and we've got the 2-point conversion coming up.
Boyle on a vertical, one-on-one coverage, just as you pointed out here on the edge. Vertical down the seam, great pass, great catch.
You know, I just can't help. I get giddy about football. You look at Polo. Polo's got to be, you get frustrated. You're doing everything right defensively. You're covering things. Again, they've got a guy right with them, step for step, and he still comes down with it. What a fun game to watch. Let's see what they do for the 2-point try. Stoller rolls. He looks again for Boyle, but great defense by Polo. I can't see from here who knocked it down, but he definitely got a hand on that. Is that Wolber again?
It was 13 on great coverage there, covering the flat route.
Well, it's 20-12, but boy, this is a football game. Again, tonight's game sponsored by General Paint and Manufacturing. For more information, find Marty Nelson at 847-757-7201. Are you looking for field striping paint? Find these guys. They're good to our association, and we need you to be good to them.
Wow, exciting. A lot of running up and down the field offensively. Polo's done an unbelievable job with their run defense, but Milford being able to throw the ball on top to Boyle, just the unstoppable combination there.
You know, and I look at this game right now from both points of view. If I'm MCP, I'm frustrated going, listen, how am I going to stop this option game? And if I'm Polo, I'm going, okay, how am I going to stop Boyle? Stoller back to kickoff. Polo's been great on the return all night. Stoller keeps it on the ground, kicks a roller to Coffee, and Coffee will just fall on it. And they'll kick off this drive from their own 38.
First time that Polo started the ball on their own side.
Chase Coffee, for no yards. Polo takes possession. 1st and 10 for the Polo.
Well, Coach Kirby, I expect to see a lot more scoring.
I don't think there's any doubt. This has been very exciting. These teams are going up and down the field like a tennis match.
Mumford will keep it again, this time with the halfback leading the way for him. MCP slows it down, but it's still going for 2.5 yards. That'll bring up 2nd and 8. And if you're Polo, you feel pretty good about 2nd and 8.
I think once again they're staying with the chains, feel confident in what they're getting. It certainly looks like they've got a different game plan going against this Eagle front. It'll be interesting to see if they continue to run the quarterback through the B gap there and then Speedo as well.
Looks like Mumford will go back under center. Mumford to Davies. Mumford will keep it. He's got a small seam, but they're not gashing quite like they were on that first drive. It'll be 3rd and short. Third and short. I expect to see Coffee on an ISO play or a sweep.
They brought 2 bigger defensive linemen in to play on this particular play. It looks like they're going back to their 2-man or 4-man front, rather, with 2 big guys playing the A gap. We'll see if they go back to the option now.
Well, a huge play here. It's midfield. If you can stop them, Polo has a tough decision to make whether or not to go for it. They're under center. It's toss sweep to Coffee, the big, strong tailback. He doesn't have room, but he does have strong legs. Will they bring him down? They do, and it'll be 4th and a long 2 for Polo. Kirby, what do you do here? You going to go for it?
On your side of the 50, probably not in a regular game, but this is a state championship game. They haven't stopped them yet. I'm sure their average is much greater than 2 yards per. I'm going for it here.
Well, it's a shorter 2 than I thought. I feel like it's more like 4th and a long 1. And again, like you said, they're getting much more than 1 per play. The odds are good. They go back to that quick unbalanced set, and they'll give the Coffee straight ahead. Boy, that's going to be close, Kirby.
I think we got a first down Polo by about a foot.
I kind of felt like they would have measured that, but they did not take to the sticks. The officials say he got it.
White Hat's a confident guy tonight.
You know, and that's where that weight room comes in. The play looked stuffed, but Coffee's a big, strong back, and he's going to lean forward.
Second effort certainly got him there.
That brings up fresh sticks for Polo. Back to their gun look with that wing, and Coffee on the same side as the wing. Coffee will lead for Mumford. Nice stiff arm by Mumford, then runs a defensive back over. That's a statement run. Bring up 2nd and short.
Anything in the playbook on 2nd and short. Might look for a play action pass right here.
Well, I believe they, outside of the 1-2 point conversion, they've only thrown the ball 1 time, and it was the toss pass.
And as you said earlier, only 17 times all year. This would certainly beat the percentages.
If you're going to go deep, now's the time. Maybe a down to waist. Deep inside Milford territory. They'll stay on the ground to Davies. Knifes ahead for 6-7 yards, and that's exactly what you want when you're running the option, to be able to really gash people with the fullback dive.
Back under center running the option again. Hadn't seen it in about a drive and a half. Looked at some other things, had success with those as well, but go back to your wheelhouse in a time where you want to move the chains.
They definitely have the Bearcats reeling. That 3rd down was a very big play, right? You get an inch from stopping them, and then now the chains are moving.
Let's go, Blue!
Mumford under center. Back to option. Davies keeps, and you know, the fullback game is simply working. One thing I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this as well, but Mumford isn't quite carrying out the fake quite like he was in that first drive.
Well, I think he has gotten a couple shots that maybe those body blows have slowed him down a little bit.
2nd and 6 for Polo, right where they want to be.
So basically he's on.
Given the same look, Mumford keeps this time, but very good defense by the Bearcats, brought down by a host of them. First man off the ground for the Bearcats, I see Rudy King, and number 51, Ryan King.
Huge 3rd and 4 right here. I'll tell you what, Milford had such confidence because they went down the field, scored, made it back to a 20-12 game, and now Polo has just taken the wind out of their sails, marched the ball down the field, just methodical, moving the chains, staying with what they believe in, not getting outside the box. This is a huge third down.
4 yards to go for the Marcos. Back under center. Toss sweep. Very good defense by the Bearcats, but again, that second effort. Coffee, a 200-pound back. And as you well know, as a coach, as a former player, 200-pound backs, they're not fun to tackle.
25 years ago, we didn't have 200-pound backs. Those guys were guards back in the day. This kid runs downhill and physical.
Very effective early in the game, and another thing I know about 200-pound backs, Kirby, is that they only get harder and harder to tackle the longer the game goes on.
Definitely, and they're just pounding away at him with that.
3:42 to go in the half. 1st and 10, back to option. Davies falls ahead for 2 to 3 yards.
It's not very often you actually see the fullback for Polo is considerably smaller than their tailback. The guy that's getting the ball on these inside runs is a lot slighter, but runs a great path, runs behind his shoulder pads, and has been very effective.
He's quick. And they've gained 2 yards before you even hardly get off the ball. Back to that ISO/lead play to Coffee. That'll go for 3 or 4.
Probably not giving enough credit to Davies on his blocking on those ISOs and those sweeps. That's one of the reasons why they're getting a lot of successful plays. His blocking has been tremendous.
This look of the 3rd and 4, I feel like we're just kind of on repeat at 3rd and 4. Polo playing their game right now. Milford in that 3-man front. The stand-up ends, and it's just they're having trouble stopping that. That outside veer right there, Mumford will keep it on this one, but he could have given it, and both would have gone for the 12 yards.
It's almost ending up like a follow, where the fullback goes through and the quarterback ends up following behind in a duck in underneath that, where it almost works like an ISO for the quarterback. He's reading the end coming forward and then coming underneath with the fullback.
Be curious to see if MCP stays in that front, because they are getting hurt in that front right now. But it'll be 1st and goal from the 3. 1:55 to play. I got to believe Polo would like to take that clock as low as they can get it and punch it in before the half. That'd be a big momentum swing. If you can get a score here without even giving MCP the ball back, that's what you want. Mumford back to the dive. There's someone there this time, and they'll run him backwards. It'll be 2nd and goal, but they're down to the 1.
It'll be interesting to see if Milford calls a timeout to try and milk a little bit of the clock.
Yeah, they certainly want to keep as much of it as they can. They can score quickly, but it is going to be important for them to be able to try to get that score. And if you're Polo, now the clock at 1:19, 1:18. Boy, if I'm Coach Bumstead, I'd love to see that under 30 seconds before I score.
Polo's staying in the huddle here quite a bit longer than normal. They are doing just exactly as you thought, making sure the clock gets milked as much as it can.
Well, you can't put off scoring in a game like this. If you can score now, you got to take it. If it takes you one more down, you're not crushed. But they'll punch it in now, and they punch it in to go up 26-12 with 52 seconds to go in the half. What a great drive by Polo. Just impressive all the way down the field. Didn't panic, didn't get away from what they want to do. Controlled the ball, and that had to be a 15-play drive.
I know Polo has controlled the game, but this extra point here is really a big play. To go up 16 in this situation and 2 full scores in this game would certainly be a big deal.
Well, let's see if they can convert here. Coach doesn't like what he sees, and he takes a timeout. So take a longer to make this decision on the 2-point conversion. 52 seconds to play. Polo getting ready for the 2-point try. They're up 26-12 on MCP. This game sponsored by True Value and Paint and Manufacturing. They are proud to sponsor the I8FA State Championship game. True Value Paint and Manufacturing is your source for field striping paint. Contact Marty Nelson for more information, 847-757-7201.
What are you going to go with here on your 2-point conversion?
Well, last time I said triple option, carry it out to that pitch man. I think that's the right call. Last time they went counter boot pass. I think they go the option.
I think they're going to do the quarterback follow again. I think they've had some success in short yardage in that situation.
Having some clock. Have to reset that play clock. Here we go. We'll get to look at that 2-point conversion now and see if you're right, Kirby. Back to that initial play action pass, and it's a great call too when you're hurting someone on the ground. You take the play action pass on the goal line, and it's there. That's Scott Preros with the nice reception. Mumford to Preros, and as you said, that's a huge point to go up 16 with 52 seconds to play.
And you can't blame the defensive back for peeking in the backfield with everything coming downhill as it has the whole drive. What you said was probably a 15-play drive, straight up, straight at him the entire time. It's pretty tough to take your eyes off the tight end just for a second. He gets into the flat there open.
Well, these 52 seconds, a key minute in this game. I believe a key minute for the rest of this game will be this minute of play, whether or not Polo can keep MCP out of the goal. And here's the key: do you double team Boyle now?
I was just getting ready to say, how many plays of this minute do you think that 22 is going to have the ball?
If it's me, I'm going to play my defense. I got to probably take at least one man off that defensive line, maybe replace him with a safety, and ask him to stay over Boyle.
Well, I agree, but I don't know that you can completely forget about the quarterback being able to run the ball and them having timeouts left as well.
Nowhere to go. Boyle with the ball. He's trying to make something of it, but after that initial bobble, nothing is doing. They'll start the drive on their own 20, and that is a big break for Polo to not have to defend them from about the 50.
Milford's going to get the ball at the beginning of the second half. If they can take advantage of this last minute, that would be a big momentum.
41 seconds to play. They'll put a receiver on either side. They give it to Nick Allen. Nowhere to go. Great defense by Polo.
Single coverage out here on 22. Flag in the backfield.
I see the official is counting. Someone may have 9 men on the field. I'm not, what is that a 15-yard penalty?
Yes, it is. 15 yards, first down, have the ball at the 40 now. Only 27 seconds, but as often as they've scored this year, you know on a moment's notice they can put one in the house.
Well, Polo does have a man back about 20 yards. He may or may not even be in your camera, but they got that one safety back, and he is cheating towards Boyle's side, which is exactly what I would do. I'd certainly cheat towards Boyle's side. He's the man. You got to stop. And the Bearcats want to think about it. Probably not the time. Was the clock going to restart there?
Yes, it should have. With it being a running play, the clock should have started, no timeout. That was interesting that it didn't get a start. Interesting shift of their formation there. They brought the tight end on the shift over to this side. If you pump fake out to Boyle, tight end down the middle of the field, if that safety cheats over too far, you'll see him running down the middle of the field wide open.
Curious to see what MCP has up their sleeve. They are known to score in about 30 seconds. I can't imagine their average drive this year being much more than about a minute and a half. So 30 seconds, not out of the question. However, they haven't had to score in 30 seconds against a defense like Polo's. This is the type of situation they could have really used Angel Salinas. Then you move another potent receiver and Nick Allen out to the edge, and it's harder to double team Boyle. But they'll play without him.
Their safety moved over to the other hash.
Looks like Boyle moved over to the other side. Looks like a hook and ladder. Ball's on the ground. That's live. Polo looks, they think they have it, and they do. 18 seconds to go, and now Polo gets a chance to show if they have any tricks up their sleeve, they could punch it in here before the half.
Great call by the coaches from Milford. Really had an opportunity there. Just a little bit of a hiccup out of the kids. Tough in that situation. Polo really looked like they might have been set up for that play, but ends up getting the fumble recovery, and now here we go. 18 seconds left. Do you take a shot here when you're up 16?
For sure. Well, down here, right? If I was on my own 38, no. On their 38, I think so. You got all the momentum. You've done very little wrong this game. And you'll see they spread it out into the gun, into a Milford-looking formation. Mumford has a long time to throw. He's got a man, and he can't quite connect. Boy, that was open.
Wheel with the post. Caught the guy looking on the wheel. Got over the top on the post. Just missed him.
Well, you may have heard the PA announcer here at the game say there's 12 and a half seconds to go. 2nd and 10. Polo knocking on the door. This score, again, I said this minute could prove to be critical in the game. If Polo punches this in, that's a lot of ground to make up for MCP in the second half.
Certainly is. Twins formation again. Watch the tight end leak out here.
Mumford's got a lot of time to throw. Pulls it down and scrambles. The Bearcats wrap him up. 3 seconds on the clock. Looks like Polo will let it run down. Nope, they've just stopped it. They stopped the clock with 0.3 of a second to play in the half. And it looks like they want to regroup and take one more shot at this end zone.
Looks like they're going to add more time to the clock. Going to be a few more seconds put onto the clock.
Well, they're resetting the clock to 4 seconds. Polo wants another shot at it. 3rd and 15, but that's kind of irrelevant when there's only 4 seconds on the clock. They are at the 43-yard line of MCP. What do you expect to see, Kirby?
Playing the goal line, making sure you're in your nickel defense here. Nobody coming up on any underneath fakes, just making sure the ball doesn't go over your head.
Well, Mumford has had a lot of time to throw when he's dropped back.
You're a defensive back coach in this situation. What are you telling your DBs?
Get back, get back, get back. You just kind of got that phrase on repeat and knocked the ball down. Mumford's got time again. He throws it up. He's got to step on him. Had a chance to bring it down and it just slips through his hands. It looks like it just slipped through Jesse Powell's hands. I think he saw Nick Allen coming out of the corner of his eye. That score may have been a dagger, but they don't get it. Polo takes the lead, to the half, up 28-12. A great half for Polo. I can't imagine they feel like it could have gone any better. Kirby, what are some of your closing thoughts on that first half?
Amazing amount of offense. I'm sure Milford is going to come in and make some adjustments at halftime to what they're doing defensively. It's going to be really interesting to see what the game plan is for Polo in the second half.
Well, right now, it has been all Polo. And if they don't make any mistakes in the second half, it's going to be very, very hard to top them.
With the score being what it is, do you change your coverage? Do you play off a little bit more and make sure that they can only throw underneath the Boyle rather than try and get on the top? Make him try and do something in the short yardage and make a move on you in order to score. You've definitely devoted everything you can to stopping the run, and Polo has done a wonderful job with that. Do you get back a little bit, make them throw it underneath, and dink and dunk their way down the field as opposed to going up on top like that?
I think that's a great thought. You can't go wrong with that. See if they can execute all the way down the field. We don't want to give up the big play, that 30-second drive one. We want to make them, and again, if you make them stay underneath, they've got to take 5 minutes to score instead of 5 seconds. That's a big deal.
And as Polo is just killing the clock with every one of their drives, at some point, if they continue to work in that manner for a couple of drives, you start to wonder if they make them dink and dunk all the way down the field, is there going to be enough time to be able to make that up? I think that it's going to be really interesting to see what the game plans are coming out of the second half.
Well, we'll leave the camera on here while the I8FA All-State players are honored here at half. And we'll take a brief break after that. Back for the second half. This game is sponsored by True Value General Paint and Manufacturing. They are proud to sponsor the I8FA and the championship game, your source for field striping paint. For more information, contact Marty Nelson, 847-757-7201.
Running back, Jace Coffey. Linebacker, Alex Davies. Offensive line, Cole Carter. Offensive lineman, Brady Clark. Defensive back, Parker Wahlberg. Representing Milford, wide receiver and defensive back, Nick Allen. Quarterback and linebacker, Penn Stoller. Offensive lineman, Rudy King. And running back, Angel Salinas. Defensive back, Keegan Boyle. Defensive lineman, Jacob Nash. All right, we're going to let them guys get back to the locker room. Step up, guys. From River Ridge, running back and linebacker, Caleb Rose. Also from River Ridge, offensive lineman and defensive lineman, Jacob Soller. From Slarman Academy, wide receiver and defensive back, Vaughn Black. From Flanagan and Cornell Woodland, offensive lineman and kicker, Kyle Hull. From Pawnee, running back, Liam Monahan. From Flanagan and Cornell Woodland, wide receiver, Tyler Harms. From Pawnee, offensive line, Tyler Barrett. From Flanagan, Cornell Woodland, defensive line, Damian Hunter. From Schlarman Academy and at-large first-team All-State, Marcus Blurton. And from Flanagan, Cornell Woodland, defensive back, Cameron Tower. Congratulations to all these young men. Give them a nice round of applause.
Check. Well, we're
Back for the second half. It'll be MCP ball. We'll kick it off in about 40 seconds. Kirby, what do you expect to see on this first drive from the Bearcats?
Well, I think they're going to go with their original game plan and try and get the ball to the edge, run trap, and then throw Boyle deep. I think it's really going to be interesting to see what Polo's game plan is on the defense of Milford. What they've done up to this point in stopping the run has been the story of the game. Milford has not been able to run the ball. It's made them one-dimensional for sure.
Yeah, that's what one of my main thoughts was the fact that they really haven't gotten trap going. They have gotten some yardage off of counter when Stoller keeps it. But I got to believe they feel like they need to establish the run because, of course, it's going to make throwing the ball all that much easier. Well, we'll see what Coach Schwartz has in mind. Polo lines up to kick it off. Back deep again for the Bearcats, Boyle and Allen. Those are their big play guys. They'd like to probably would love to see them, the Marcos, kick deep and see if they could spark things in the second half right away. Ball is shanked. It goes out of bounds just inside the 50.
Let's go, Blue!
Bearcats will probably take the ball there. It's pretty good field position.
It's an interesting call coming out of the gate. You think that was a shank, not done on purpose?
So, of course, you never know. But my thought was they wanted to kick it short, but not that short. Looked like it came off pretty sideways there. Either way, that'll be Bearcat ball on their own 47. Good field position. They'll put 2 to the boundary here, and they're tied into the field. They need to kick things off with a good drive here.
13's not in tight man coverage anymore out here on number 5.
They back him off, just like you said. The little power read there with Stoller keeping it. And it looked like he could have just continued to move forward and gotten a first down, but he came to a stop looking for bigger yards. Instead, it'll be 2nd and 5. Still a good-looking play.
Just what they needed coming out of the gate.
I don't remember seeing any power read in that first half, so maybe they saw something on film. You know, with the modern day of the sideline replay, you can see a lot, and you get that halftime to look it over. They go to trap, just as we said. They needed to establish that ground game. So far, 2 plays, and they seem to be getting some yardage off the line of scrimmage. That's a big deal.
Polo's taken a guy away those first 2 plays from the defensive run and put him back in man-free coverage. Now they're walking back up tight.
Back to power read. Boy, they really executed that play very, very well. A good mesh between Allen and Stoller, and goes for about 7 yards, easily a first down for the Bearcats. The Bearcats are marching.
Great read by the quarterback. He's wonderful coming downhill, very physical.
2 receivers towards us. They'll send Boyle in motion, go with the counter. A bad snap, and it looks like a hold. Number 56, Jacob Nash, I believe the call will be on. Had a good solid grip on some jersey. I feel like if they would have gotten a clean snap on that play, I think it could have been a big one. With the bad snap, it slowed it down. Stoller gets to the point of attack later. Nash feels like he has to hold on, and it'll come back for holding, which is really killer. MCP had it moving.
I agree, but boy, they certainly seem to feel or look like they have a different game plan coming out. The quarterback run looks like it is a serious component in what they're going to do in the second half.
Well, unexpectedly, there was also a flag on the Marcos. Looks to be some sort of personal foul. We don't know any details right now. But they are indeed marching it back towards Marco territory. And the Bearcats catch a break with that one. They needed to keep that momentum. It works out going positively for Milford. It'll be first down again, but only 5 to go.
That's a big penalty. I didn't see that. I'm not sure what took place on that particular play, but what a huge mark-off when you thought it was going to be a holding on Milford.
That's Cabe in motion, of course, because they want Boyle deep, and unbelievably great coverage, but it just didn't matter. Stoller, ball on the money, and Boyle catches the ball in traffic again. Coach, how do you slow that down?
Boy, they even weren't in press coverage right there. Just got over the top. That quarterback is really putting it on the money, but man, is Boyle great in open field.
My goodness. You know, that's one of those things where your defensive back gets to your sideline and you say, son, you played it perfectly.
You're exactly right there. Just a wonderful pass.
Again, as a coach, you say, hey, we think you can do it once. We don't think you can do it a lot, but MCP's doing it a lot. Now they'll bring Boyle in motion. They'll give to him on the sweep, try to punch it in, and a great stand over by the pylon by the Marcos to deny, and that's huge because that keeps it a 2-score game.
Exactly. The math that I was doing just as the same time that you were saying it, keeping this at 10 points is going to be very important. Now, it's very early in the second half. They got down the field very quickly. You figure that there's going to be a great deal of scoring in the second half, but that offset of it being 10 points is going to be big.
Well, MCP needed to score. Obviously huge that they kept Polo out of the end zone at the end of the first half. They needed to make it a 1-score game, but they at least, you know, I think, and obviously scoring 6 points is a big deal. But as big a deal right now is bringing some of the momentum back to your side, showing your kids so that your kids continue to believe, yeah, that's right, we know how to score. We can go with these guys. This game ain't over.
Well, you know their confidence has got to be up now. They got their talk at halftime. You come out at the beginning of the second half. Everything your coach said came true. You went right down the field and scored after you did all that work at halftime. Now you come out. The big part is going to be, can they stop? If they can do this right here and get a stop after they gained all that confidence on offense, we're really looking at a great second half.
Stoller back to kick off. They haven't kicked one deep yet, and they'll kick another one short. It's an onside, or they get a good bounce, and Nick Allen comes up with it. That ball cannot be advanced. At least it shouldn't be able to be advanced. But it will indeed be Bearcat ball, likely back here on the 48-yard line. That is exactly the break MCP needed. And Kirby, this game just changed.
Incredibly. They have the ball back. All the momentum and confidence in the world is occurring right now on the Milford sideline.
Wow. If you happen to be confused, just so that you know, you cannot advance an onside kick. If you do get the ball back, it is dead at the point where you recover it, even if you recover it while running. Now, I do believe they got a friendly spot out of that. It should be more at about the 48, but the officials are spotting it at the 44 of Polo. Well, can MCP capitalize? They're back in their base formation. They'll go right to power read. It was working for them last drive. They kick off this drive with it, but Marcos are there. In on the play, Coffey and Mumford. And number 52, that's Brady Clark. All those players in there for the Marcos.
They're going to continue to key on the quarterback here before long, and that running back is going to get around the edge and really have a big play on power read.
Great insight there, Coach. They certainly have set it up because they've run it 3 times, and Stoller has kept on all 3. Quick motion. They go for Cabe over the middle. The motion did look suspect. Looked like he was coming at the line of scrimmage, but it's not called. That one is not complete, and a 3rd and 10 for the Bearcats has played big. The Bearcats don't like to punt much, but you got some momentum here. If you don't come up with anything, I wonder what they do.
I think if they get half of it right here, they're certainly going to go for it. They'll have the ball on the 40-yard line if they get half of it. I suspect that'll be what their play call is all about as well.
MCP changes formations a little bit. They put a receiver on either side. They'll take easy 5 to Boyle and see if he can turn it into more, and he does. Great play call when you got a great athlete like Boyle on the edge. 5 yards turns into 15 in a hurry, just like it does right there.
That's what we were talking about at the end of the first half is Polo going to get off a little bit on their coverage and make them throw it underneath. As you can see, Boyle's trouble when he catches the ball anywhere. Quarterback run, Stoller underneath, fumbles the ball. Not sure who's got it. And Polo comes out with a huge pickup off the quarterback fumble, stopping the advancement of Milford on the play and the drive. Polo will take over at the 27-yard line, and nothing occurs after the missed opportunity on the onside kick.
Wow, what a big play by Polo. That is huge to swing the momentum or at least stop it from leaking in the MCP direction. And now Polo will happily take over and try to milk that clock. Right back to what you saw in the first half. Dive option to Davies, and he takes it for 6.
Alex Davies on the carry for Polo Marcos. Gain 5 on the play. 2nd and 5.
Boy, if you're MCP's coach, those are the things that you just, even 3, 4 plays later, 5 plays later, you're still kicking yourself going, boy, that was a big opportunity.
Well, and you're right, but here's their first chance on defense to stick with what the game plan was at halftime, and they're showing offensively they're getting things done. They just got to get a stop.
And there's the ball on the ground for the Marcos. I don't see any celebration for MCP. Looks like Polo must have come up with it. And that is something that in the semifinal game kept the game close for a while. Polo put the ball on the ground a couple times early in that first half, and River Ridge was able to capitalize and made it a close game early. It was 24-20 at one point.
And a point you made in the first half, the balls never went on the ground for Polo. Now they're behind the chains a little bit with it being 3rd and 5 rather than 3rd and 3. It's going to affect their play calling.
Ball on the ground again. This time they get a lucky break and have some room, but that looked a little suspect. It looks like the officials are calling them down. 2 plays in a row now, and it looked either way, it's going to be a 4th down inside their own territory. 4th and short, but you fumbled 2 snaps in a row, Coach. What's your call here?
I think I'm going to punt this. I mean, you're on your side of the field. Milford has shown some ability to move the football on you at the beginning of the second half. You've got a 10-point lead. I think I would punt this ball, but it certainly doesn't look like that's the plan of Polo.
Well, the spot was a little friendlier than I expected, and it looks, the officials discussing, I thought they may measure. And they will measure this. That reach out by Mumford was huge because it would have been about 4th and almost 2. But when you're 6'4", and you lean forward and reach that ball out, he got 2 yards added, and they'll be about 6 inches short, and Coach Bumstead will have to make a tough decision. 4th and inches, you've fumbled each of the last 2 snaps. You've got a great, strong offense. But do you want to risk giving MCP the ball down here?
Going to be interesting right here. You know, with them playing that double eagle covering all your 3 linemen, it'd be difficult to sneak it, but it looks like that's what they'll do.
They'll go to their unbalanced look in a hurry. And I don't think they're happy to see that the officials stopped the play. Now they'll start it again. There goes their element of surprise. It is unbalanced. Mumford keeps on the backside and easily picks it up. I'll tell you what, my man John Lawler at Alden Hebron is known to play that game. He'll unbalance you one way, and he waits to see, do you shift? If you shift, we'll sneak it. If you don't shift, we'll go ahead and attack the unbalance, and it's a great plan of attack. I wonder if Bumstead picked it up watching Lawler.
Great call there. Understanding of what the defense was doing, and the quarterback did a wonderful job getting through.
Back to the option. They pitch it for the first time, maybe of the game, and very well played by the Bearcats. And as you said at halftime, the Bearcats need to force Polo to take this option out to that third back. And even though Polo executed it, it made me a little nervous, that ball going in the air.
It looked as though their fullback was supposed to get out here on the corner and was not able to get to that point simply because the end was playing so wide. I think there'll be a little bit of an adjustment to make sure that they can get out to that position in order to run that play again.
2nd and 9, far cry from what they had in that first half where it was almost always 2nd and 7. Great call by Polo, hard count, makes them jump.
Third time they've got that this game.
That always frustrates you as a coach when your kids jump. I know myself personally, I made a decision a couple years ago that I stopped getting on my D linemen for jumping. I felt like I had to make a decision. Do I want you to be aggressive or do I not want you to? And I feel like you're kind of contradicting yourself by saying, hey, be aggressive, but don't go too hard.
Interesting. You're always putting those defensive linemen in a terrible situation by making them choose what they're going to do. I know as a defensive line coach, our guy would be saying, watch the ball, but boy, you want them to get off. Just kids making an easy mistake.
Well, that gets them out of a tough situation. 2nd and 5, they go to that divide-looking play, and Coffee turns on the Jets. Gets the edge and takes it for about 7. It'll be a first down for Polo. That play's interesting to me. It's not ISO. They're taking the fullback opposite. I can't tell how they're blocking in front of it.
It looks like they're turning in, turning out, and taking advantage of some over-pursuit by the defensive linebackers in that situation.
A play designed to go inside, but Coffee, who is an inside, powerful running back, showed that he has good speed, and he bounces it for the first down.
He definitely is showing some strength in his ability to break tackles once he gets on the edge. Earlier, the touchdown run, and then that run right there where he certainly moved the chains by breaking tackles.
Well, that 4th down conversion proving to be huge. Now Polo getting some momentum. That play a little different looking. Definitely not your veer option look, but nonetheless, Davies ends up with it on a dive, and it'll be 2nd and 8.
I'm really impressed with the blocking of the offensive line by Polo. Certainly a lot smaller in stature, but is doing a wonderful, very physical job of taking care of the front for Milford.
Milford's got some big, strong guys up front. They got the 2 Kings, both at 280, and the other King brother at 240. They got Jacob Nash down there, another big, strong kid. Dive option, back to Davies. That one back to the veer look for another 4 to 6 yards, and this is the Polo we got a lot of in the first half, where it was 3rd and 5 or less.
And now you're at the point on the field where you're certainly going to go 4-down territory, so I'd look for a lot of the same here on 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5.
Well, it feels like the second half just started, but there's already only 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Clock at 4:03, 4:02, and counting. Seems to be a little confusion on the field. Coach Schwartz not happy about the running of the clock. Well, they are going to put 10 seconds back on the clock. You can see Coach Schwartz very aware of the amount of time left in this game. He would like to play this game, I'm sure, he wishes there was 4 quarters left.
All right, with the chains here, 3rd and 5. Probably going to stay status quo. Get to either a first down or a short yardage situation.
They go to toss sweep. Coffee not in the game. That's Jesse Powell on the carry.
Yeah, he had a great run or return earlier on a opening kickoff, and then the reverse on the opening kickoff, but getting some time here at halfback. Going to be an interesting call. Got all the way to 3rd and 4. Maybe look for them to do a hard count again and see if they can get him to jump off sides. With it being this late in the quarter, certainly being able to use a timeout if you need to.
Not a bad option at all. Coffee comes back in the game at tailback. That's the big, strong tailback. He's broken a lot of tackles tonight. That's the guy you need in with 4th and 4. They'll go to Coffee on that ISO lead play. Coffee bounces it again and picks up the first down. That's a big play for the Marcos.
He's doing a great job bouncing that outside when there's nothing in the gap that ISO it looks like it's actually supposed to go to. Milford's doing a great job filling. He's just bouncing it to the outside in that situation then and breaking some tackles to get a chain movement.
First and 10, 2:30 to go. Polo is winning 28-18. They'll go lead to Coffee. Makes one man miss with the spin move. Dragging another guy. Breaks a 3rd tackle. Finally shoved out of bounds by Keegan Boyle. Jace Coffee is a load.
Running like the bus, all the way up the sideline, staying in bounds. Physical run.
Keegan Boyle up slow off that run. And, you know, when you get to championship games, Kirby, and you're going to see it next week in the I8FA games, is that both teams are usually very sound schematically. And then both teams always have a incredibly special, talented running back that makes extra things happen.
That and the fact that once you get to this point in the year, nobody is without being banged up.
Well, he walks in the end zone, but the ball pops out, and Polo falls on it for the touchdown. That would have been a break MCP had to have, but Polo falls on it. That's what you get when you got guys attacking the ball, guys following their blocks. You get a lot of guys around the ball, and that's a touchdown. 34-18. Recovered by Joey Bardell for the touchdown. That'll bring up the 2-point try. Polo winning 34-18. That proves to be huge.
16 points. This, as we've said all game, extra points.
Well, to try to make it a 3-score game, Mumford's on the run. He'll throw one up. Good call. It's intercepted, but you can't return the extra point try, and it'll stay a 2-point game, something that could prove to be very big. 2:08 to play. Polo's up 34-18. Again, your state championship game sponsored by General Paint and Manufacturing. For more information on field striping paint. Just lost it. Contact Marty Nelson, 847-757-7201.
A lot of time left in this game. Still a quarter and a couple of minutes. Milford really showed that they could run the football on the last drive. They have 22 virtually any time they need to over the top. We're far from being done in this one. I know it's 16 points, and that was a big score by Polo, but I'd be hard-pressed to say that Milford's out of this game. As electric as they are on offense, this could get close very quickly once again.
Well, MCP has scrapped and fought to stay within striking distance, and they've done a good job at that because Polo is playing such good football, with the exception of the 2 fumbled snaps on that drive, which happened to be back-to-back. Polo has played a near flawless game. Even when MCP is getting a big play, they're in great coverage. Boyle on the return. He's got a little bit of room. He's got great speed, as you can see. Polo finally gets numbers to the ball, and they'll bring him down. MCP ball on their own 45.
You can see why they've been squib kicking it the entire game and kicking onside kicks. Anytime you get the ball to 22 in that situation, he brought it back all the way to where the onside kick would have went.
Yes, I would have no interest in kicking to Boyle. They'll leave Boyle out wide, run the ball with Nick Allen, and there's nowhere to go. The MCP Bearcats have shown, and I admire that they realized, hey, we can't throw every play. We have to continue to establish a ground game.
Polo's done a great job stopping trap. I really look for them to go back to power read and getting.
Well, it's a trick play, and Boyle's got the ball over here on the edge, and he drops the ball. Who's going to come up with it? Polo comes up with it, and on a great call, Polo catches a break. Boyle just dropped it. And I think you're seeing a result of a young man who has played a very physical game. He's involved defensively, and Polo is physical, and their physicality comes out. And here it is, as we said. Remember we talked about tackling a 200-pound back. It's that physicality. The longer the game goes, physicality affects you. Boyle drops that one. Proves to be a big momentum changer in this game. And Polo will be happy to march the ball down 4 yards a carry. Ball to Davies, and that's just what they do. Go to their ground attack with the veer option. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I feel like a lot more veer options have gone towards Polo's sideline. I wonder if they got a tight end they prefer or guard they prefer running at.
I think that they are running to their offensive left, certainly. I think that the front from Milford has flipped over and back a couple of times, but I think that it's just the tight end and the guard on the left that Polo is trying to run behind.
Well, the clock just went inside a minute here in the third quarter. 2nd and 6, Polo ball. And they'll go with that lead play to Coffee. Boy, he is a load. Makes quick work of the first man and the second and third. He's in the open, and he is hard to bring down. Coach Kirby, Jace Coffee, he's a difference maker.
What a great cutback. Looked like he was going to be tackled for about a 30-yard gain. Would have been a great play. Wasn't about to give up on it. Cuts back across the field and takes it to the house.
Well, if somebody asked me about Polo right now, I would say they have a great football team. They play good football, and they have an exceptional tailback in Jace Coffee. That run, to me, obviously the association is young, but to me that's play of the game type material right there, and that breaks the game open. Coach, it is 40-18 Polo, and now they're going for more points. Dive option to Davies, a good call, and boy, he does put those shoulder pads down and punches it in. They just run it right down their throat. 42-18, 33 seconds to go in the quarter.
And if you look back at how this game has actually went for Polo, how many plays have they actually had that have been outside of their tight end? Everything has been A-gap, B-gap runs. Their quarterback runs that have been big have been inside. We've talked about the fact that they've only pitched it a couple times. Everything has been vertical, north and south, and working off of that, whether that be an ISO or option. Those are the two avenues that they've taken to the house.
Well, 42-18, you can tell the mood of the game has changed. The mood of the crowd has changed. All excitement on Polo's side, and MCP needs to make something happen now. Try to scrape back and maybe make it a 2-score game and give themselves a chance. The toughest part about this is, as a coach, making sure that your players believe that it's not over. Kids can be fragile at times, and as soon as the momentum goes swinging against them, sometimes they'll drop their heads. So it's important for the MCP staff to keep those kids' heads up. They choose not to kick it to Boyle this time, and that'll be Woodby. He'll field it and take a knee. MCP ball on their own 33, 28 seconds to go in the third quarter. Down by 24.
Bearcat ball, their own 34-yard line, first and 10.
Go back to the short passing game. Boyle's got his legs back, and he'll turn that hitch into a 7-yard gain.
Okay, I definitely now see Polo's going to back off. No reason to play bump and run coverage. Make him throw underneath you. Even as electric as Boyle is, make him beat you with something special.
Bearcats will take it to the end of the quarter. Well, we've played 3 quarters here at April Zorn Stadium on the campus of Monmouth College. And the score is Polo 42, MCP 18. Your 8-man state championship game, the I8FA, sponsored by General Paint Manufacturing. Here for all of your field painting and striping needs. For information, contact Marty Nelson at 847-757-7201. Thank you to True Value Manufacturing for sponsoring the I8FA. Well, it's quarter number 4, and as I was saying, I think MCP is anxious to keep their kids' spirits up. And if you're the Polo coaches, you're trying to calm your kids down, saying, hey, we have a whole quarter to play.
And the team that we're playing averages 60 points a game. They're electric. They're going to figure something out. We've had a great defensive game plan up to this point that you guys have executed phenomenally. Let's not let up from that. Let's make sure that we stay with what's got us to this point in the game.
Bearcats stay with the receiver on either side. They go back to power read. Stoller with some room. And you can see he's got good speed and big, strong quarterback. Takes it for about a 12-yard gain.
You can see why he was a 1,300-yard rusher this year. You just don't see those sort of numbers out of a quarterback.
Stoller this year rushed for 1,400 yards and threw for 1,400 yards. A total of a combined 51 touchdowns this year, Coach. He drops back, and he looks for Sam Cabe, the sophomore. And I see flags, but I wouldn't be too quick to assume defensive pass interference. Cabe may have been the one who pushed off.
Normally in that situation, you certainly see it as PI, but that certainly could have went either way.
Bearcats showing they do have more weapons. They did not just go into Boyle. And they're calling defensive pass interference. I'm a little surprised by that. However, I must admit I was watching the ball more than I was watching the 2 receivers. So, Stoller drops back to pass again, and they're going to try to hold Polo accountable with these 5-yard hitches, and that one goes for 9.
Touchdown here makes it a 2-score game. They're marching down the field very efficiently. I think we've still got an awful lot of time left in this game.
Speaking of time, that's 11:10 to play. Clock is running. Bearcats are down by 24. They'll throw again, this time a slant to Boyle. He catches it, and that'll bring the ball down to the 12-yard line. The Bearcats have officially broken away from their base formation. They normally play with a tight end one way and twin receivers the opposite. They've been sticking with this, having a receiver on either side. They go to a fade to Boyle in the corner. He catches it. A flag on the play. Will they rule him in? No ruling yet. That's a touchdown. What a catch by Keegan Boyle and a ball by Penn Stoller.
That was an amazing catch. I'm not sure if he had it in, but without instant replay, that one goes up on the board. Touchdown.
Man, what a play. You know, the Bearcats are really feeling the effects of Salinas being out. And mostly because of, as I said, them losing that other great receiver in Nick Allen. Nick Allen, a very special receiver. And it with Nick Allen, now they're playing a lot of this game with Nick Allen in the backfield blocking rather than out wide running routes and making Polo take a little bit off Boyle. But as much as the Marcos are overplaying Boyle, he still continues to make plays, and this is a big 2-point conversion to make it a 2-score game if they can convert. They'll stick with the same formation. Back to a hitch. This time to Sam Cabe, and that's a big-time hitch. You don't see many hitches on the goal line, but that one works. That makes it a 2-score game with 10:36 to play.
We're back in business here. 2 scores with 11 minutes to go. This is going to be a great finish to this football game.
As I said before, I don't feel like very much has gone right for MCP, but they are doing just enough to stay within striking distance. And I feel like if I'm Polo's coach, I feel like I've done everything right. We're playing outstanding. And darn it, these pesky guys, I can't seem to get them off my back.
And it's got to be frustrating to know that you've done, just as you said, everything as well as can imagine, but yet looking on that scoreboard knowing that they're right there, and that in all honesty, there is a ton of pressure on Polo on this particular drive to march the ball, milk the clock, get a couple first downs. Even if you don't score in this situation, hang on to the football. You cannot turn it over in this situation. Hang on to the football and get a couple first downs so that the clock continues to move.
Well, this is interesting. On the flag on the touchdown, that's going to move the kickoff to Polo's 45. If I'm MCP, I'm thinking onside all the way. Well, I guess if I'm not MCP, if I'm me, I'm thinking onside all the way. It's worst case scenario, give them a ball on their own 30 practically.
Certainly.
They will onside it. Right to Coffee. They're going to hope they can bottle him up. And they do. A nice play over on the edge by Woodby. He's outsized, and Coffee turns that little squibber and to about a 5-yard, 10-yard return. Polo will start with the ball on their own 41.
As you can see, Coffee's got his right ankle taped up awfully thick with that spat on his foot, but yet hadn't affected him up to this point in the game.
Well, as you said, it's a huge drive. Huge series right here for Polo. Give it to your workhorse. Give it to Coffee. You can't bring the kid down easily, and he breaks more tackles. And he turns a play that really had nothing into a 30, 40-yard gain.
What a run. Just amazing physical running, keeping his shoulders down, breaking tackles, wonderful balance, asking for a playoff now, a well-deserved playoff, I might add.
Man, if I'm Polo coach, if I am the Polo coach, I almost would feel guilty giving the ball to anyone but Coffee with the game on the line. He's just too much of a difference maker.
I bet right here with him out of the game, we see option to the fullback.
That'd be a good decision. And that's what you'll get. And Davies rips off 10 yards.
Probably haven't given Davies as much credit as he deserves. Once again, with the runs that he's had at fullback, but a lot of those great runs that Coffee has had have been led to because of the blocking by the fullback.
You know, people talk about having a balanced offense, and I think they first think running and passing equally when they think balance. But I think a lot of teams like Army and Navy and Georgia Tech, when they were running their triple option, have shown that it doesn't mean necessarily you have to take to the air, but they have balance within their running attack, forcing you to defend the whole field, and they don't have to take to the air to make you do it. Back to dive option. Davies, he's hard to bring down for less than 5 yards, and sure enough, he rips off 5 more right there. That's first down.
Just under 9 minutes to go with the clock moving, and Polo staying with what they've done the whole game. Straight ahead, triple option, and power football.
Let's go, D!
Well, Pre-Roast is off the field, and they move Coffee to tight end. Not what I expected. Mumford will keep it. He's got Bearcats hanging on him. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Something you're starting to see if you're watching the play clock. Polo's not coming out and getting into a hurry before they snap the ball, making sure that they're using every second that they can to get a play off, getting the play clock all the way down.
$7:52 to go in the game. Mumford to Davies again. Boy, he's running hard. He's not very big, but he's still hard to bring down. Seems to be a theme for the Marco offense.
Definitely 4-down territory, 3rd down and 3 right here. Look for the ISO to Mr. Coffee.
Pre-Roast is back in the game, moving Coffee back to that tailback position on a big 3rd and 3. And they'll go to Coffee, but the play is stopped. Got to believe it's going to be a false start call on the Marcos. That's the break MCP needed. A rare mistake for the Marcos.
It's going to take it back to 3rd and 8. Still 4-down territory, and the clock will be running.
$6:50 to play. Toss sweep to Coffee. And he just kind of trips over his own men. They create a pile, and it's a big 4th and 5. Not a situation that Polo has faced much at all tonight, if at all, of 4th and 5.
All of their timeouts left. I think this would be a situation where you might try and make them jump off sides. You've got nothing to lose in this situation. You might as well use one. You're down to 6 minutes left. Why not try and steal a first down?
And they're coming out in maybe some lonesome polecat. 4 guys spread far left, 4 guys spread far right, and Milford-Cissna Park defensive coordinator Sid Allen will waste no time in calling timeout when you come out in something he wasn't prepared for.
You know, that's interesting. Polo probably does a great thing there, not only because they showed up in a formation that they weren't ready for and possibly had an opportunity to get a first down, but they still got a bonus out of that by making Milford waste a timeout, which they're very much going to need in order to come back after they get the ball back, no matter what happens in this situation.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is one of those situations as a coach, you go back to your huddle and you say, okay, here's how we have to defend it. And then you go back out to the play and then they run something different. And but you have to do it. You still have to say, okay, they're going to come out in this with a million guys on one side, another million on the other. Here's how we do our best to drop a defense against that on the fly.
especially if you haven't seen it at all on tape throughout the season.
One of those things as a coach you label under exotics. Things they could run, but don't necessarily want to. We're back to a crucial 4th and 5, and Polo goes back to this formation. Key for me is I'd say, where's Coffee? And here he is coming in motion. Mumford rolls. Finds Coffee on the goal line, and he marches it in. Uncontested. Putting the Marcos back up by 3 scores. 48-26, Polo's lead. 5:58 to play in the game. Coach, they had a chance to stop it, right? Mumford uses his feet to keep it alive and finds Coffee with no one around him.
What a play by Mumford to get away from the rush and to be able to get that ball to Coffee. I know that Coffee's going to certainly be the headline for everything he did in this game, but what a great play by the quarterback in order to get him the ball.
Polo comes back out in it for the extra point. Mumford to Coffee. For the 2-point conversion, it's 50-26, and it just reminds me and makes me think. Sometimes, sayings become sayings for a reason because they hold true. And in the world of football, think players, not plays. They line up in a funky formation, they do funky motions, but at the end of the day, the ball goes to Jace Coffee. He's the man for the Marcos, and that was 2 impressive plays in a row. Mumford to Coffee. Polo up by 24 again, 3 scores. Keeping pressure on MCP, and Coach Schwartz is not happy, but at the end of the day, he's still got to stop these guys.
And here we go now with what we were talking about. Before that drive started, Polo had to have a drive in which they took the ball down the field and if nothing else, took time off the clock. Well, they got 2 things accomplished there that they needed to. One, more than anything, they made the clock run. Add to that the fact that they scored, and now their defense gets out on the field probably with renewed confidence. Have to feel very confident in the fact that they're up 3 scores before this kickoff takes place.
5:58 to go. Polo kicks off. That's going to go to Boyle. He gets it with a full running start. Runs over number 3. That's Caleb Scott, but great job by Caleb Scott bringing him to the ground. MCP starts with the ball on Polo 49, 5:51 to play. Down by 3 scores, and that's 3 full scores. Each score needing the 2-point conversion at the end.
That was a great tackle by number 3 there. Most important aspect, get the guy to the ground no matter how you can get it done this situation.
Back to Power Reed. Stoller's got room. That one goes for 12.
Once again, their quarterback, the focus of their offense, just impossible to bring down. North and south runner on that particular play, Power Reed, and once again, moves the chains.
They're going to go deep. He looks to Boyle, but then goes opposite side to Cabe. Great coverage over there by Brody Glaive. Boy, I'm very impressed with the Polo DBs. Even on plays they've been beat by, they're still there.
Interesting play call here, second and 10. You know you've got to move the chains and you've got to cut some of the distance down, but at the same time you have to score quickly. You're kind of caught in the middle on each of those thoughts on what you can get done. Maybe a situation where you throw the ball short to 22 and let him be electric.
Oh, MCP takes a timeout. Was that MCP's timeout? That was Polo's timeout. 5:26 to play here in the I8FA State Championship. Two 11-0 teams battling, and Polo has really controlled much of the game. MCP doing just enough to be pesky, stay within striking distance, and again, if they could punch it in, that's an if, because that Polo defense is for real. Then they are within striking distance.
Here we go, 22 has got a very short split. Look for him to get to the edge here.
They're going to go to Boyle. He runs a little 10-yard out. Ball's a little bit low. MCP not too unhappy about the clock stopping. 5:22 to play, 3rd and 10. Stoller to Boyle, and he drops that one. The Bearcats needed that one pretty badly. I just feel like I see Boyle feeling a lot of pressure.
I think that's great notice on your part. Looks like everything has to run through him and the quarterback. I know they've tried to get the ball deep to the other side a few times, but 22 is everybody that they're trying to get the ball to at this point in time.
Fourth and 10, a situation Coach Schwartz known to run a lot of screen in. They've only run one screen today, and it got tipped away by Tucker Mumford. They'll go to rollout pass. And the ball is not on the money, it's picked off. Another great play by Parker Walber. Picks it off to give Polo the ball back. 5 minutes, 11 seconds to play. Coach, is it fair to say nail in the coffin?
I think possibly, but how about Parker after he's been picked on by all those vertical passes all game, to be able to be in a situation right there where he probably seals it for the state title on a great play on 4th down where you know they're coming after you, in particular with the guy you're guarding. Great play by him and one he'll remember.
With 5 minutes to go, Polo back to their base offense. Dive option, ISO to Coffee. It's ISO on this one, and he'll plunge ahead for 5 yards to move the sticks halfway in one play. If it's me, I'd run that play clock inside 5 seconds every time.
No doubt at this point in the game, that's what their plan has to be.
Mumford gives to Davies. Dive option, that time to the right. A huge victory for the Marcos. Just keep the ball moving forward, right? No negative plays, no drop snaps.
In a situation like this, as a coach, you're certainly telling your guys, 2 hands on the football, hand it to the official at the end of the play. No need at all to try and get an extra yard by stretching the ball out. Let's just keep going forward and moving the clock.
There's ISO to Coffee. Great job bringing him down there by Boyle. That's a tough ask to bring that kid down one-on-one after he's had a 10-yard head start. Boyle brings him down. Coffee hangs on to the ball. And again, as we said, he's a 200-pound running back. It's the 4th quarter. That wears on you. 3:28 to play. 1st down.
And are we seeing him get to run off the field for the last time right there? Getting a high five from the other guys and his coach with 3 minutes left to go in the game and it pretty much being sealed. Maybe that was the last run for Coffee when he got that 1st down.
It's dive option to Davies. Again, ahead for 4 yards.
not a single punt up to this point in the state championship game.
In the entire game. That's a great point, Coach. 2nd and 6. Keep it simple. Back to Davies. Makes one man miss and takes it ahead. That's probably a first down, and it is. We're at 2:22 to go, and it looks like we're into wind down time. The Polo crowd is feeling it. They're getting that taste of the state championship, and what a great feeling that must be here in their first year of playing 8-man football.
Incredible game plan defensively. Really put a lot of pressure on their defensive backs. They devoted everything they could to stopping the run and did a great job holding Milford to just 26 points.
Coffee plunges ahead for 2 yards. 1:43 to go in the game. And what a game this has been tonight. 2 11-0 teams coming in. A lot of talk, a lot of hype around both teams. And Polo just proven to be too much. Very strong up front, great get off, very sound play, and a tailback who made a lot of things happen. There's Davies again, who's had another great game. I would love to see what the stats are for this game. I would assume Davies is around 100 yards and Coffee maybe around 150.
Certainly have to think both of them are over 100. Definitely Coffee, of course, but the fullback over 100 as well with an early touchdown run that he had that was quite long. Great game by both teams. Very physical. Just amazing that both teams were able to go through the season undefeated and had a wonderful night here in the championship.
And there it is. Polo will take a knee and celebrate a state championship. Here we are, 2019. We have a state champion. It's the Polo Marcos from Polo, Illinois, coached by Jeff Bumstead. Congratulations to the Marcos. Coach, as you've said it a couple times, but I really do. I think it was an outstanding game plan. They stuck with who they were offensively. Everything worked for them. They controlled the football. They took care of it. And they made Milford play a game that they didn't want to play. And they held them to 26.
Exactly. The defensive game plan by Polo was wonderful. The execution of it was great. You know, coming in, they had to see the offensive explosiveness that Milford has had all year and continued to have tonight in the first half. They stuck with their game plan, and I bet if you were to go back and look, Polo probably only ran 4 different plays on offense through the course of the game, but those 4 plays were executed with precision. The running backs ran very hard, and they were successful and now state champions.
Congratulations to the Marcos. Congratulations to the Bearcats on an 11-1 season and a state runner-up finish. They'll take us down to the award ceremony. I'll try to take the camera down there. Coach Kirby, thanks for joining us. And we hope to see more and more programs join the I8FA, and we look forward to the future of this great association.
Thank you, and it was a wonderful game. Thanks for having us.